Make it a great show, fellas.
All right, let's do it. Let's get this song, Schwatter.
No.
Wow. Incredible. Here we are live on the actual porch. We are back on the porch. It's a Sports Porch Black and Gold. Yes, all over the world on Facebook, LinkedIn, X. The Fantasy Alpha crowd is in the house again. And we are on Instagram right now. Thank you for being here. We are so excited. We do drop the podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your freaking podcasts. And of course, I'm going to put a comment in there. You can listen to us live anytime on our sister station, on our radio station, Radio PGH. By the way, guys, the Sports Porch Black and Gold airs on Radio PGH every morning at 9 a.m. and every night at 11 p.m.
I like it.
You can catch the show again in case. If you're in your car, just pull up that Sports Porch or that Radio PGH stream and you're good to go.
I like it a lot.
When you wake up and when you go to bed.
That's right.
That's the first thing you want to hear in the morning and the last thing you want to hear before you put your head on that pillow.
That's right. Your voice. All right, guys. Welcome here. Back again. We are in the dead zone. Of course, we've talked about this for years, but we do have a lot of things to talk about. We're going to talk about the Penguins' moves in free agency. We're going to talk about a little bit about the Steelers. We're going to talk, of course, about the Pirates, what's going on with them, which seems impossible. Then we have our Trader Joe's snack time. My wife's going to bring out the snack time, what we're watching. We have a lot of fun. But first, what I want to do is I want to present the first Sports Porch collectible. Here it is. The Broderick Jones.
Mark,
I called it.
Yep.
I called it. Broderick Jones. Very nice.
Yes.
That is sweet.
Yes.
Yeah,
The Broderick
It is
Jones.
massive.
Very nice.
Jersey.
Yes. Big man.
I like the offensive line shoulder.
Yeah.
Like it's got the elastic on it.
Yep.
Love it.
Yep. It's the authentic. We got this at the Brandon Short's Carly Short for a Better Tomorrow Foundation gala that Brandon so graciously invited us to. And his PR person, Carrie Ford of Carrie Ford PR. But it was a great event, raised a lot of money, was able to get the Brandon Short jersey, was able to get the Broderick Jones jersey. So we will frame that, put it in the studio.
That's sweet.
I thought about trying it on, but then I was like, I don't want to ruin it.
Does that now make...
It said small. It won't fit you.
Yeah, I know.
Does that now make Broderick Jones your favorite Steeler?
No.
Well, you know I'm a big Broderick Jones fan.
Yes.
Steve is.
I did it for Steve. Yeah. I would never do anything for you.
Well, he might, but we couldn't talk about it on the radio.
So the Broderick Jones jersey. Anyway, that was a fun event. It was great. So moving on in true Bucko fashion, the Pirates steal 2 from the Braves. Every time they play the Braves, I say this: they're gonna win 2 out of 3, and they do. Yep. Congratulations to Aroldis Chapman. I mean, really.
Well, they only took 2 from the Braves when they were at home, but when they went to Atlanta, they lost 2.
Yeah, of course. I know you're right, but still, Aroldis Chapman sets the major league record, most strikeouts by a left-handed reliever. I mean, I don't know how important that record really is, and it's one of those things where, wow, he said it as a Pirate.
Well, he's the best ever at it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
Steve Carlton was a left-hander.
Yeah,
right.
But
not a reliever.
Not a reliever.
Oh, is a reliever? Wow.
I don't.
What best reliever was there? Aroldis Chapman, I guess.
Yeah. Who else was a left-handed reliever? Billy Wagner.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know very many.
Not a lot of them.
No.
Yeah, so maybe he's like the only one because he's the only one.
I think Billy Wagner had like maybe close to 300 saves. So.
Yeah. No, strikeouts.
Yeah, it's strikeouts, but
it was Aroldis Chapman set the strikeout record
as a reliever.
Yeah, in a Pirates uniform. So
I would say that is neither here nor there.
It is neither here nor there.
But it's one of those things we would call a useless statistic.
Right, but what is here and there?
Yeah.
is that the Pirates are now becoming a team that ruins every Paul Skeens start.
Yeah, that is exactly right.
He just pitches great, and they can't win because they don't score.
No.
Well, they score one run.
One run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly frustrating. They're 40-43. They're 9.5 games in back of Milwaukee. Their run differential is -34.
That's bad.
As far as the wild card standings, and we love to focus on this all the time right now.
They're 7 games back.
No. That's of Milwaukee. They're 3 games out of the wild card. But so
how many are in front of them?
So is San Francisco. The Diamondbacks are 2.5 out. The Mets are 2 out. And then you have St. Louis, San Diego, and Atlanta in the wild card spot.
So that's 6 teams in front of them.
Yeah, exactly. And they have what was at the time that I saw this statistic, the second worst lineup in baseball. And Brian Reynolds' hit streak ended. Yes, yesterday Cruz hit a 2-run homer, and I guess so did Tellez. But I mean, we got to go back to the fact that they are, and you said it, Schwaber, they are wasting an incredible year for not only Jared Jones, well, not only Paul Skeens, but for Jared Jones, and really, if you think about it, for Mitch Keller. I mean, it's just, we've got 3 of the better, if not best, starting pitchers in the National League. Even Bailey Falter, for all his faults, has had a good year for the Pirates. His record doesn't reflect it.
He's a half season pitcher.
I know you talk about that every week, and he probably is, but they are wasting this great pitching performance, and they're in a situation now where, and we talked about this last week, we're still talking about the prospects in the system and what are they going to do at the trade deadline. And everybody knows they're not going to, if they do anything, which they always do something, but if they do anything, it's not going to be anything. It's going to be, there's not going to be a lot of sellers out there anyway, because San Francisco is a real team.
So you said if they do something, it's not going to be anything,
right?
Explain that.
I mean, I don't think you have to think very hard.
They won't go get Vlad Guerrero.
Right. There's no way
there
Vlad
was some clickbait that, of course, I had to do.
Yeah.
right.
And it wasn't
Vlad Guerrero's available.
It said it was a Pirates clickbaiter.
Of course.
Right.
So of course. I'm like, okay, what's this guy's idea? Well, I think it would be great if they went to get Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Yeah. Well, I think I think it would be great if they went to get Shohei Ohtani. This is the brutal.
I mean, he's only $20 million. He is affordable.
Right. And that's the thing. It's not that the Pirates don't have the money.
Should get.
Yeah. It's not like the Pirates organization does not have the money. They have the cash.
Oh yeah.
In spite of the fact that they have among the lowest attendance records in baseball for the last, 10 years. They have the cash, but they won't do it. And I guess the sports media in this town has to fill up the airtime with something when the Steelers aren't playing. And we got a faux Major League Baseball team in town with a really pretty ballpark. So let's talk about all the people in the minor leagues that should be playing, and let's get people to call in and get really mad that Bubba Chandler isn't up here and Gorski isn't up here and G1 Bay isn't up here. And look at the lineup. Man, look at the lineup. It's unreal, the batting averages. I mean, look, we're mostly old school here. So, we can look at analytics. We can look at WAR. I love that. Wins above replacement. Who the hell cares? Okay, I don't care what your wins above replacement are. If you're batting 350, you're in my lineup. I mean, give me a break.
Or for the Pirates, if you're batting 275. That
Right.
would be an incredible batting.
Right. That would be a ridiculous thing. And Marvin Hamilton chimes in on Facebook and says they don't want to win a championship.
Marvin, you're right.
But
Spot on.
as an owner, and you could be right, Marvin. Absolutely, he could be right. But I find it hard to believe that as the owner of a major league franchise, you would not want to put on your shelf a trophy. I mean, seriously.
Well, some people don't.
They don't want to pay for it.
Some people don't. They just want to.
No.
They just want to make millions, and it's just like the Pirates to him are just like Wiggle Whiskey is to him.
Yep.
Right.
It's just a commodity.
It's just a commodity that makes him money.
And didn't he buy a cider company, a hard cider company too? I mean, I could be
Arsenal. Yeah.
Yeah, Arsenal cider.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. Up
Yep.
at Sorgels.
Maybe he'll want to buy the sports porch. I mean, if this guy's into buying Pittsburgh stuff,
I think if he's listened to us, he's not interested.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless he wants to just eliminate us.
well, either that or
we probably could be eliminated
Yeah,
for a lot
right.
cheaper.
for a lot
Right.
less. Yeah, than what he
Right.
paid for Wiggle Whiskey. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Or he'll just force us to start talking about Matt Gorski and G1 Bay and how great it'll be when they come back up. And Henry Davis, another bust.
We're all in agreement that they are not going to go get a bat.
There's
No.
another new Steve word, agreeance.
Mhm.
Is that a new word?
Agreeance. Yeah, I think it's a word. Yeah.
Agreement is a word, Chris.
You're welcome, Marvin.
You can use
Is
your-
agreeance a
You-
word?
You can use your dictionary.
I think it's
Okay.
AGREEANCE.
I thank you, Mr. Dictionary.
Yes. You got
But you're welcome if it's not a word.
Yeah, and
But they're not going to. So
No.
why beat a dead horse? Let's just move on to the next
Yeah.
subject because the
No.
Pirates are a
No.
dead commodity in this town.
they are.
But-
I know people want to talk they still want to talk about the Pirates because their pitching is top notch,
I mean, Skeens is unreal.
right?
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
this is the month where they're either going to put it together or fall apart. They play St. Louis twice this month. They play the Phillies. They play all the good teams this month. They play the Milwaukee Brewers. So if they can win those series, then okay. I'll say, oh, they're doing good. They should go get a bat anyways. But they won't win most of those series. And on top of that, that will give them the fuel to not want to go get a bat and maybe even let one go.
I don't know.
Another Pittsburgh related thing to comment on that doesn't have to actually do with the baseball team per se. What did you guys think of the City Connect jerseys? I thought they were kind of weak.
Dude, the City Connect jerseys across the board are horrible.
They rolled
Most of them are
those
bad.
jerseys out last
Yeah,
year.
most of them are bad. I
Yeah.
heard they're calling the Phillies ones. The Phillies players are calling them it's a softball team jersey.
We're playing our softball.
But
team
I was
jerseys.
looking at the Pittsburgh one. It's just a big PIT, and it's just all yellow. And
Yeah,
it's
like,
a PGH.
It's a PGA.
oh yeah, PGH.
Whatever.
Okay, and it's
Whatever.
like, well, what is this even? This
Yeah.
is like they couldn't get more creative than that.
Yeah.
No,
You
they
know?
can't. They're meant to be very just specific.
Yeah,
Like it has the city name on it,
right.
and that's all they really want to do. Now, in the case of the Phillies, I don't know what they did with those colors. Like, what was going on with that? But it's supposed to be representative of the city,
Right.
So I guess Philly's a little bit more flashy than Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's just black and yellow and has a PGH, and that's it.
Well, what's the whole idea behind City Connect? I mean, isn't the fact that the
selling more
ballpark is
jerseys.
in the city?
No,
Well, right.
It's
Yeah, I
just
guess you're
about
right.
selling more
Yeah.
jerseys. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all.
And
it is, yeah.
and Major League Baseball like has a weekend that's they only wear their City Connect jerseys
right.
all across Major League Baseball. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think it's every home Friday night for the Phillies is a City Connect
Is it?
game.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about
I think they're
Sheets? How do you guys? I do too. How do you guys feel about Sheets sponsoring the Pirates now? That with the
Do
little
they?
Sheets patch. Yeah, you didn't hear that?
Hey,
No.
as long as Nutting's getting more money, why do we
That
care?
that makes you happy?
Well, I mean, it's just more money for him to put in his pocket. I mean, good for him.
When I think of Sheets, years
Think of
ago,
hot dogs.
Amy and I
Uh,
were driving up to see a Penn State game at Nittany Lion Field or whatever they call it.
Right.
Beaver Stadium.
Beaver Stadium.
Happy Valley.
Happy Valley.
Nittany Lion Field.
Okay.
Big Penn State fan here.
Yeah.
And we were in this like slow bumper to bumper traffic going into Penn State. And there was a big Sheetz, tanker there. And they were advertising a new sandwich.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it was called the barbecue. And so after I saw that for a while, every time we thought about Sheetz, we'd be like, you want to get a barbecue? It was spelled like barbecue and then like you all the way to the
Did
end.
you get one?
No.
I just want you to say it one more time.
The barbecue.
Nice. That's how we're going to say barbecue from now on.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we are going to be doing that this week. It is the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, happy birthday, America.
Yes, happy birthday, America.
Happy birthday.
Get your flags out. Look, he still does it to this day, Amy May says.
Yeah, well, you just did it for us like 4 times. Our ears will never be
The
the same.
barbecue.
There you go. First official Chris Chata on Instagram says, I went to Pitt. Penn State sucks. And isn't City Connect like Color Rush in the NFL? I guess,
It is.
That's right.
Kind of
That's
their-
a good.
It's kind of
we
this.
should have thought of that. I
Now-
guess we're just not smart enough.
Marvin Hamilton on Facebook does have a baseball related question. Do you guys think some of it is coaching? Well, it's hard to tell. Well, the short answer for me is yes.
Yeah,
I don't like
some of
Derek
it.
Shelton as a coach.
Right.
But it's hard to tell when you don't have a full length major league lineup. When you have
Right. Yeah.
a bunch of guys that belong in the minor leagues and haven't worked their way out of the minor leagues yet, and that's all you have to choose from. So it's really tough. If he had guys on there that were batting, the major league average, batting 250, 260, 270, maybe one guy on there that would maybe hit 290 and is capable of 40 home runs every year, and their pitching staff is the way it was, it is the way it is, and they're losing ball games, then it would be really easy to find the culprit. It would probably be the way the manager is handling the club. But I don't know. But, when it comes to hitting, a lot of people go down the road of the hitting coach needs to go. Well, Derek Shelton was a hitting coach. So, I think a lot of it is coaching. But I also think there's a lot of it is that the talent level is it's just not there.
Right.
I think the coaching is equivalent to the talent level. It's both minor league. So therefore, that's what you're going to get.
Exactly.
Minor league coaching with a minor league baseball team. And I agree with your thoughts on the hitting. When you get to after the 6th position or even the 6th position, you're going to get out. Like, even if you have 3 guys on and no outs, the chances of you scoring a run are pretty low.
Unless you're the Braves, whose 7, 8, 9 hitters hit 20 home runs last year.
Right, exactly.
Right. And Chris Chata also, he observes that Shelton seems very highly regarded when he listens to opponents' radio broadcasts on the MLB app. They're always heaping praise on him, but I just don't see it.
I don't think
agree.
none of them would.
Well, the only reason that is because everybody looks at the team and sees how devoid of talent they are outside of their 3 starting pitchers and thinks, wow, they're 40 and 43.
Yeah.
The manager must be doing a good job.
Yeah. Well, and
that's what people think.
That's the side of the coin that you could say says he's doing a good job with what he's been given.
You could say that.
It's hard to, it's really hard to argue against that. That's why I have a very mixed, feelings about Derek Shelton so far. I really wish what everybody else wishes, that the Pirates would give him some good players, and then let's see what he can do, because the pitching staff is doing great.
I still think they make too many blunders. Like,
yes,
how can you make the first out of third base?
Dumb,
right?
Can't
how
do
can
that.
you have a guy hit a leadoff triple?
You're welcome,
and
Marvin.
Not score? Like, those are some of the basics. Like, as a coach of a Major League Baseball team, that should never happen. You should never get your first out of third base. That should never happen.
Right.
The players should know if that happens, they're going to be benched, even if they're Brian Reynolds and he has a 25 game hitting streak. but he doesn't coach like that. So that's my problem with Sheldy. Is it's just the fundamentals. He's just not good at teaching. The guy can't even freaking slide. The guy slid into home plate and he didn't touch home plate and he was out. Like, how can you how O'Neal Cruz last year got hurt sliding?
Yeah, that was a horrible slide. We talked about that all last year.
These are basics for a Major League Baseball coach to teach, to make sure his players know how to do it. You do it once, you see they do it in training camp. Okay, they can slide. Now we can go on with the rest of it. But when they can't slide, they need to practice sliding. But he just doesn't do that. And that's my problem with Sheldy. The basics.
Yes.
Learn the basics, teach the basics, have a good fundamental team. And that's not what the Pirates have ever been underneath him.
Yeah, and the other side of the basics is you've got a team that is not a power hitting team, and they're not a contact hitting team. But you've got a pitching staff that is really good. So play small ball.
Yeah, right.
So if you're not a power hitting team and you're not a contact hitting team, would you say you're a non-contact hitting team?
Yes.
No, I would call you the Pittsburgh Pirates.
That's right. I would say you're the Pittsburgh Pirates. Okay, a couple more things on baseball, then we're going to move on. Henry Davis, is he a bust?
Bust.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to completely write him off. He hasn't played a full season in the majors.
I don't
think he will.
I think he's a total bust.
Yeah, he might be.
Yeah, I think Endy Rodriguez, we have no idea, but when he was up here,
they probably screwed him up by not playing him at catcher to begin with.
Exactly.
I agree. I think they screwed around with him and it messed with his psyche.
Yeah,
right.
He's never going to get it back.
I don't think so. O'Neal Cruz now sitting at 99 strikeouts for the year, and we're not even at the All-Star break. 99, 22 walks.
He is going to hit 25 home runs, though, probably.
He's got 12.
Right.
Is he a bust?
No.
Jury's still out?
No, he's not a bust.
Is he as advertised?
No, he's a little bit under the advertisement label just because he came up as this guy who was going to lead the team in a lot of things. And everybody knew he was going to strike out, but they expected more power and better in the field, not just his exit velocity and his throwing velocity.
Right.
That seems to be the best thing he is at, which is not enough to be a leader on the team. But I think he's a good player. But when you are surrounded by bad players, that's why they keep him.
He's also good for the position, too, because, there's not a ton of great shortstops out there.
I can think of one.
Good.
Gunnar Henderson.
There you go. Will this team back their way into the playoffs?
No, not this year. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Is that really a question?
Yeah. people are really, they really want to know what we think about that.
No.
I don't think so either.
No, they just don't. They don't have a team yet. They've got the right pieces for a team.
Yeah,
they need about 3 more pieces until they actually are. A team.
And they need to jettison some old.
And I think one of them will be the coach. By the way, I don't think he's part of the team.
I tend to agree with you. Catch the Sports Porch podcast dropped after every show. Right after the show, we're going to drop the Sports Porch podcast on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube at the Sports Porch podcast. Leave us a review, subscribe, all that good stuff. Official Chris Chata on Instagram. He has a question for Hockey Jesus.
Well, it's a good thing I'm here.
Hockey time.
He wants to know, will the Hockey Jesus be doing hockey podcasts in the off season, draft, trades, etc.?
But of course, I'll be doing one probably every week. This week, I have to do one because 2 things happened: the draft and free agency, and we'll be talking a little bit about that tonight, Chris. But I will have a more in-depth one that will be hitting YouTube. Definitely by the weekend, for sure, 100% by the weekend. So look for that. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell, and you'll get it as soon as it pops up.
Follow Hockey Jesus on YouTube at the Sports Porch podcast. So,
but if you stick around here tonight, I'm going to give you a little bit of a preview.
Yeah, and we're gonna get there. But first of all, we have got to give some props to the Grand Schwabini.
Oh, yeah,
over here to my right.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, the Grand Schwabini's prediction was the Florida Panthers will win Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals to bring the cup to sunrise.
And they sure did.
And they did. And actually, he predicted
Almost
3-1.
got the score.
Yeah, 3-1.
Almost got the score.
Are you going to have a
Almost.
prediction for us tonight, Grant Schwabini?
Sure.
Okay. Are you going to think of one while we go through the rest of the show?
Yeah,
You bet.
Of course.
You bet.
That's the way it works.
Yeah. So all credit to the great Grant Schwabini for predicting the outcome of that game.
By the way, how's the Grant Schwabini's prediction on Jack Sawinski looking?
It is
Solid.
looking pretty good. The Grant Schwabini predicted that Jack
Solid.
Sawinski would end the year under
200.
He is currently batting a blistering 168.
So he's actually gotten worse.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was like 170.
Right, yeah, right.
Like
Maybe
that.
you should
Right.
maybe you should predict that he'll get better and see what happens.
I can only predict what the future holds.
There you go.
That's not something the future don't hold.
And
Okay.
I feel really bad. I actually feel a little partly responsible for the lack of run support for Paul Skeens lately.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
you cursed him too by
Yeah.
saying less than 10 wins.
yeah.
I
yeah.
feel terrible
Seriously,
about that.
he's pitching he's pitching like he should win 20 games.
Right.
Yeah. It is a tragedy that he seems to, you said it earlier, he seems to be on this first pitch home run thing.
Which is so weird.
Yeah, and then he settles down and
Yeah.
strikes out 7 people and gives up maybe another run. But the Pirates in his first 3 starts, they scored like 5 or 6 runs. That when they can't score anything for him.
Right.
Yeah, it's horrible. So let's talk about hockey right now, because Hockey Jesus does preach on the podcast after every single regular season Penguins game. You catch the Hockey Jesus. He's sitting right across from me right now on the original porch. And during the Stanley Cup playoffs and the Stanley Cup final, he did the same thing. Of course, congratulations to the Florida Panthers. We did our, and then I stuck around and watched the rest of the game.
He did.
It
Stuck
was
around to the end.
I stuck around until they were, riding the cup on the ice. So lifting the cup over the ice.
They weren't really riding the cup.
I know that was an accident.
Maybe they were later in the night, but that's
There was
not something,
there-
there's definitely not something you televise.
Guaranteed there was somebody riding that cup later that night. What do you think, Schwaber?
Absolutely.
There you go.
I did see Roberto Luongo eating spaghetti out. It's true.
I think that's actually, one of the best things in pro sports
Mhm.
is that Stanley Cup
Mhm.
and what they do with it afterwards.
You know what I actually did? I actually copied that when I used to be in charge of, about 300 sales folks.
Oh my God.
We would have a competition, and if you won the competition for the week, it was around Christmas time, so you would get the elf on the shelf.
Yeah.
And you got the elf on the shelf for a week, and you had to take it with you somewhere and take a picture.
Nice.
People brought it out of state and all kinds of stuff. It's fun.
On a plane.
It's fun.
In a
Should have got a
helicopter.
mini Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Snorkeling in the Bahamas.
Right.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Kachuk took it into the ocean. By the
Yeah.
way.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dove right into the ocean with that thing.
You got to figure there's some things that have happened to the Stanley Cup that will never be revealed.
Well, we
Right.
all know the big
Oh, sure.
Penguin story is it ended up at the bottom of Mario Lemieux's pool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
Well, because they had a big pool party and they literally, Phil Bourque threw it into the pool and right to the bottom it went
Yeah.
and sank. And I think it was there for a while.
They
Mm.
expected it to float? I mean, seriously.
They were
I guess these are
heavily
hockey players, but-
inebriated.
Yes.
Yes.
Heavily inebriated. Yes.
Well, what does God have for us today?
yes. What does God's hockey son have for us today?
Well, I think we should go over the new players that the Penguins got first. I don't really want to go over the draft just because, look, here's the deal with the draft. If you're not picking in the first 10, you have no idea if these guys are ever going to play in the NHL, let alone how long it takes for them to play.
Right.
Put it this way. In 2018, the Penguins drafted Philip Hallander. You know who that is?
No.
No, you don't, because he's never played. In 2019, the Penguins drafted Sam Poulin. Do you know who he is?
No.
Yeah,
was,
you
it, was it
probably-
related to Dave Poulin?
No.
Oh.
You could say that.
Is that a friend of yours?
That was a
No,
former
he was
Flyers
a former
captain.
Flyers
I know, just
captain.
kidding.
Yeah.
You don't
Um,
I don't
but he has played in 5 games for the Penguins and he has never scored. By the way, in that same year, Jack Hughes, Capo Caco, and Alex Turcotte were all drafted those are names you probably know. Maybe not Turcotte.
Capo Caco?
Yeah. Capo Caco. Yeah.
Capo Caco.
Yeah. You know him, right?
Yeah.
New York Rangers?
No.
No. Okay.
Is he still on that team?
How about in 2018? Rasmus Dahlin, you know him.
Mm-hmm.
Sveshnikov from Carolina, who's no longer with them. Kotkaniemi from the Montreal team.
Are you sure you're pronouncing these names right?
Yes. How about Brady Tkachuk? Do you know him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was drafted in 2018, but you got to be in the first 5 picks to be able to do anything. And so,
otherwise, well, you can, but the thing is that some of these guys who are picked, they might not make the NHL for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Well, and most of them don't. And, and the ones that do, they still are like 3rd or 4th line
they'll get
players.
a cup of coffee.
Yeah, they'll be 3rd or 4th line players, and you won't know who they are. They'll be good hockey players, but they won't become a household name like Trevor Zegras, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was drafted number 9 for the Ducks in 2019.
Where are we going with this?
So my point is the draft is useless to even talk about because the Penguins don't draft high enough to be able to draft good players that will make a damn in their league for the next 2 or 3 years, or maybe never even ever.
Is make a damn the same as make a difference?
No, make a damn is much worse.
Oh.
So I'd rather talk about what happened today. What happened today is the Penguins finally got rid of Riley Smith.
Yes.
And here's the deal with Riley Smith. He's an excellent player. He just didn't want to play for us because he wanted to party in Vegas with all his friends last year. And he basically got picked by us and couldn't party with his friends. So he got the boo-boo face like everybody does.
So you're saying that Pittsburgh is not a party town?
I'm saying that Riley Smith wanted to be with his buddies.
Yeah.
It would be like if Chris Letang got traded to Dallas Stars after the year that they won the Cup. He would have had the boo-boo face and wouldn't have played well for them. Like, I don't know how you factor that into getting somebody like that. I mean, you expect these guys to be
professional.
Exactly.
Right.
And he was not. And I guess he was a total headache in the locker room. I don't know. I'm only the hockey Jesus, but this is what I heard. So the good thing about it is he's gone. They did have to retain some of his salary, only 25% of it, but they did get a 2nd round and a 5th round, a conditional 5th round pick, depending on how well he does. So I think that's great to get rid of that person, just because people in the locker room who are headaches just bring everybody down. And if you don't want to, hockey, I think, is more than anything. You heard the Florida guy say it. I love these guys. These guys, I would run through a fence for these guys.
The vibes.
Yeah. If you have one player who's an asshole or doesn't even want to be there, it just ruins the vibe for everybody.
Right.
So I think he's gone. And I think, by the way, that's why they wanted to get rid of Tristan Jarry too, because it's not that he's a headache or he's a cancer. He's just kind of like, he's like the stoner in the corner. Like,
is he gone?
No, he's not gone. But that's why they signed Ned, because they signed Ned to that $2.5 million contract for 2 years, because I actually think they're going to split time, the two of them.
Probably.
And the issue is nobody really cares about Jarry. Like, they don't love him like they like Marc-Andre Fleury. And I know that's a little bit of an extreme example.
Right.
Marc-Andre Fleury is one of the greatest human beings of all time.
Human beings? Really?
Yeah, human beings.
Really?
Yeah, like
he's not an alien.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Ben Franklin, Albert Einstein, Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one.
Okay.
That's a pretty good one.
All right.
He's the last living legend.
Yes.
I think that's what Mark
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Electricity.
And by the way, it's his last year in the NHL, so he's going to get
theory of relativity.
Yeah.
Goaltending.
He made more money than those guys.
Yeah. Probably.
Well, maybe not Ben Franklin.
I don't know.
Back then, like $10 was like being a millionaire.
Yeah. $10. Yeah. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday.
It didn't have a Ben Franklin on it. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So it's good to get rid of this guy. They did pick up Matt Grzelcyk. He's from Boston. The reason
they bench him for a while.
So not Matt Grzelcyk kind of got on the bad side of things. Look, I looked up his statistics. 2 years ago, he was a plus 46 for Boston, which is an incredible year. Last year, he was only a plus 13, and in the playoffs, his entire playoffs career, he was a minus 19. I just think he's not a playoff guy. And let's face it, I don't think the Penguins have to worry about being a playoff guy. because this team's probably not going to make the playoffs again. And that's not what they're worried about. They're just worried about finding a defenseman who's going to be good enough. And actually, honestly, he'll be better than POJ. I'll be honest with you. I think he'll be better than POJ when it comes down to it.
Right.
So I actually like that pickup. They got a whole slew of guys you won't know, and I'm not even going to go through it. I'll save that for my podcast.
Right.
But they picked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys with 1-year contracts at the minimum, the contract minimum, $775,000.
So is this more like tearing it down in a rebuild?
No, you can never rebuild when you keep the 3 best players on your team.
Right. I mean, that's the biggest problem, is that you've got.
It's not a problem.
I mean, Crosby's not a problem.
I don't believe you talked about Kevin Hayes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't talk about Kevin Hayes because he didn't get picked up today. He got picked up a few days ago. Kevin Hayes got picked up from St. Louis, and the reason they went to get him was because he came with the 2nd round pick. Most of his contracts half his contracts still being paid by Philadelphia. St. Louis is picking up like $1 million something off of it, so they only have to pay him like 2.75. Is that right? Yeah, I think that's right. 2.75 or 3.25 million. And for a 3rd-line center, look, he's a 33-year-old guy. He's not going to make the Penguins that much better, but it gives them more depth on the 3rd and 4th line center. It allows them to put Lars Eller either on the 4th line or the 3rd line. Those guys can be interchangeable on the 3rd or 4th line. But they did need to get another 3rd-line center. And they also got Anthony this is going to be hard for me. Bavolier. Thank you. They got him. He's a journeyman. When he was playing well, you probably remember him playing for the New York Islanders. Mm-hmm. He was really good for them. I think he had 3 seasons of like 20 goals, and then I don't know what happened to him. He went off the cliff, and since then he's been all around everywhere. I think he'll be okay on the left wing for Riley Smith, but they're going to have to find somebody else. I think they probably bring up the 2 new guys that they got in the deal from Carolina to give one of those 2 guys a shot on the left wing also, but we'll see how that works.
So if this is not a rebuild, because you're saddled by the Malkin contract and no movement clause. The Letang contract, no movement clause.
Carlson's
the biggest new contract. And then
they're going to re-sign Sid. Sid's in his last year.
We know Sid's not going anywhere.
He's going to sign a 3 to 5 year.
But if it's not a rebuild, then what is it? Because if you're not going to make the playoffs and you're not going to contend for a cup, with Sidney Crosby, let's just forget about Malkin. With Sidney Crosby and Letang in on your team, what the hell are you doing? I mean, you're basically
fielding an average team.
Yeah,
will play averagely.
Why?
And to get people in the seats.
Well, we all know that's what's going.
You can't move anybody, so why even talk about those 4 guys, because they're not going anywhere.
Can't you just drop them? Release them?
No, because you still have to pay them.
I get it.
The way the hockey contract
okay,
works.
so
I know.
Can't
just cut veteran players. You're not allowed. I think after they're in the league for 7 years, I think.
Yeah.
So they have 10.
Yeah, we couldn't just cut Jeff Carter.
Yeah.
Can't
right. So we have 10. They have tenure.
Yeah. And you know that when you sign them.
So then again,
new news.
So then all of this shit being rained down on Kyle Dubas is not his fault. No, there's a lot of they're giving him a lot of shit in the media because he's not making moves. Basically, what I'm hearing here is that because of the way this team was constructed before he got here, he doesn't have a lot of options right now, and he's kind of got to play a waiting game until he can, move Malkin or get Malkin or Letang off the books, and then and free up some money.
You know how we talk about Tomlin has to retire?
Yeah,
that's what's going to have to happen with these 4 guys. Now,
in
fairness to Dubas, he had to fix all the problems that happened with Hextall. And the only way he could do that was to take on a huge contract from Carlson. But he was able to get rid of garbage guys for a good player. The problem is he had to he had to bring that salary with it, which not all of it, fortunately, but 10 million of it.
Yeah.
So that's helping hamstring him being able to make move, because that $10 million is a lot. Now, I know the cap by the way, in the NHL, it was the past 4 years have been known as the flat cap era, because the cap only went up $2 million in 4 years. This past year, it went up $4.5 million because ESPN bought the contract. There are more people watching the game. So there's more money to be used this year than ever before. And I think that's why you saw a lot of these signings, was because there's more money, and now people want to lock them in at this because they feel like it's just going to go up and up and up. And I saw an article today that said viewership in North America was up like 43% during the Stanley Cup playoffs than it was the year before.
That's a big jump.
So so I think
I watched the game. That's a huge jump.
I think well, and thanks to Gary Bettman for giving me a shout out at the draft by saying all the people who are watching, thank you to all the fans, and I'll take credit for some of that. You're welcome, Gary.
Right.
Anytime you want to come on the show and have a conversation about
hockey Jesus is ready for you.
I'm ready to have that conversation with you, Gary, because I am bringing fans to the game, and that is in turn bringing more money to the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
So
where's your cut?
Pittsburgh Penguins, if you would like to throw me a bone, maybe a media pass every now and then, I'd be welcome.
You are media, though.
That.
You are media.
I know.
You report on the Penguins.
I will be happy to accept that. Any weekend you would love to give that to me.
You are more than media. You are spiritual media.
I speak the truth because I am the hockey
Amen.
I have to speak the truth.
Okay, that was Hockey Jesus on the Porch Black and Gold podcast. We are going to drop this podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And you can always catch Hockey Jesus on YouTube at the Sports Porch Podcast. Now it's time for Stump the Yinzer.
Uh-oh.
Stump the Yinzer.
Like 4 in a row, I think.
Yeah. What is Stump the Yinzer? Well, Hockey Jesus is our resident Yinzer, and every week we ask him a Yinzer-related sports question that he must answer. And if he does, he retains the title of Yinzer. If not, the Grant Schwabini gets a shot, and he will become Yinzer for the week. So the question,
Yinzer,
and we are keeping it hockey related here.
You can do it.
Hockey related.
Hockey related.
I had to find a hockey question because he complains every time I do a baseball question.
Yeah.
Last week he got Gary Anderson. We got him from the Bills.
Yep.
That kind of pissed you off.
Let's just go with the question.
Here it is.
Bring it to the prophet.
Which Penguin became the first American-born NHL player to reach 1,000 points? And if you know,
I do.
You must tell us the year.
Oh, which year?
Well, tell us if you know. Who is it?
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure I know who it is.
Okay.
I believe it's Joey Mullen.
Yes,
okay.
I agree.
And you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. That is correct.
So the year was...
So you are the Yinzer, but you will be the ultimate Yinzer.
Well, the year's a little bit difficult because I know that we moved back to Pittsburgh, so I know it was after 1993, but the question is, was it in 93 or was it in 94 that he did it? And I'm going to go with 1994.
1995.
Oh,
close enough.
Son of a gun.
You didn't give him a chance.
Yeah, why?
Well, because you got it right.
Oh.
The real question was who, and if you know.
I was going to go 1993.
Okay, so there you go.
So we both would have missed it.
Okay, so Joey Mullen, the first American-born NHL player to reach 1,000 points in 1995 with the Penguins.
I think I actually have a sign that says, "Congratulations, Joey," and it's like in red, white, and blue.
Oh.
Did you make that sign?
No, they handed it out at the game. They were congratulating because I was at the game where they said, "Congratulations, Joey Mullen, on getting your 1,000th point."
Gotcha.
I'll pull that out for you, fans.
Please do.
It'll be on my podcast.
Please do.
Well, it'll be on my YouTube when I do it next.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right, there we go. Is anybody getting hungry?
Sure.
I'm thirsty.
Are you? Are you thirsty?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's a good thing you're getting hungry and thirsty. Now it's time.
It's snack.
It's snack time.
Oh.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the
Taste
goodness of the biscuit.
Yeah.
Taste the
Taste
honey
that honey
sauce.
sauce.
Taste the
Taste the
goodness of
goodness
the biscuit with the honey
honey
sauce.
Love that honey.
Uh-huh.
To get that honey
That honey
sauce
sauce
on
on
me.
me.
I don't
I
like
don't like the way it
tastes
tastes
with my
with
chicken
my chicken
wings.
wings.
Very nice. Very nice. You know, it's on a little bit of a delay. So when we replay it on the podcast,
know.
you're
Yeah.
not. Yeah, I know. I can't
You're a
figure
little
out.
bit behind.
Okay. So this is Trader Joe's
I'll
snack
speed
time.
it up.
everybody who's familiar with the show knows that I work at Trader Joe's. So what I do every week is I grab a Trader Joe's product, I bring it home, we sample it, we give our honest opinion. Trader Joe's isn't paying for this. They're not an official sponsor of the show, but they did tell me I could do this, so we do thank them for that.
How nice of them.
When are we going to take it to the next level and actually go to corporate?
Whenever you want.
Whenever we want to go.
You want me to go to corporate,
you
or
seem
are
to
you the employee?
You seem to be that's the thing. I am the employee.
Okay.
So maybe you can just
I'll
do it.
speak on your behalf. I'm your agent.
That's great. Okay, this week we have something called Horchata ice cream.
Oh, I'm always afraid of horchata.
Ice cream.
Horchata.
What the heck is horchata?
A horchata. I'm going
What
to tell
is
you. I'm
horchata?
going to tell you. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm
Sweet
going to set
cinnamon.
that right there. Give you each a spoon.
All right.
Okay.
All right, got my-
Horchata ice cream. The popular Latin American beverage called horchata or horchata is creamy and sweet, like ice cream.
All right.
With no good excuse not to, we decided to take it all the way there, from smooth beverage to frozen dessert. Trader Joe's horchata-inspired ice cream delivers all the delicious flavors of horchata in every spoonful. Like many ice creams, its rich base includes cream, milk, eggs, yolk, and cane sugar. We horchatatized it by adding cinnamon and brown rice flour, plus a touch of sea salt. And since inclusions are fun, we also added pieces
What are those pieces?
of horchata flavored cookies, contributing a nice textural variation. I don't know.
They
That's what
do.
I'm reading.
I have to say, I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good.
I don't taste the sea salt.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is very good.
Yeah,
It's got a
that's good.
cinnamony
Yeah.
feel to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And your wife, of course, brought it out at the perfect time.
Did she?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like,
it's
Yeah.
perfect. Like you're not like digging into it and you're like, I can't get into this ice cream.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Come on, take a spoon, pass it back around.
Hold on. Horchata ice cream, sweet cinnamon and rice ice cream with horchata flavored cookie pieces.
Mhm.
I liken the taste to rice pudding.
Oh no, it doesn't taste
No?
anything like rice pudding.
No, I don't think so.
No?
To me, it's almost like coffee ice cream.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I agree.
Coffee ice cream.
Cinnamon coffee
Mhm.
Yeah.
with a little bit of cookie inside.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This sells a ton. People can't wait
Oh yeah.
for it to come back.
Oh yeah.
I never had it before. I have to admit that I did have it at the store because they demoed it. And I was like, I got to try it.
Did you say it's Latin or
Horchata.
Spanish?
Horchata is a beverage. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was thinking about trying to break down horchata. You know how they went
Of course.
together.
How do they go together, Mark?
I don't know.
They just go. It
With
goes
somebody's
right down your
horchata?
throat.
You guys.
I mean, all you got to do is put it in your mouth and swallow it right down your throat. It
Yeah.
goes.
Woohoo!
Right.
There you go. And Scott Betzinger, it's Mexican and delicious. Absolutely.
Right on, Scott.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. So there you have it. Trader Joe's snack time this week. Horchata ice cream. I would say it's a winner.
Yeah, it's good.
I
I
like
mean, you know, it's one of those things, though. Like, you know, ice cream is something to be determined over time.
Yeah.
Nice job. I have a friend with me.
Yep.
It was a dog.
That's
for those of
Vader.
you who are not watching.
Vader.
I think the
on-
dog wants some ice cream.
Yeah. No, we're not giving
Yeah.
the dog any ice cream. All right. Trader Joe's snack time. Thanks a lot. Horchata ice cream.
Heyo,
Have it
Very,
at your 4th of July party.
very.
enjoy.
I got a feeling we're going to finish this.
It's pretty good.
Taste the
Have
biscuit.
horchata.
Taste the
Have
goodness of
horchata with the
biscuit.
biscuit.
Taste the
Taste
honey
that honey
sauce.
sauce.
Taste the
yeah.
Taste that
goodness
honey
of
sauce.
the
I'm a
biscuit
horchata
with
with
the
the
honey sauce.
biscuit.
Nice.
To get that
To
honey
get that
sauce on
horchata
me.
on me.
I don't
I
like the
don't
way
like the
it
way it
tastes
tastes
with my
with
chicken
my
wings.
chicken wings.
All right. This is the Sports
Yeah.
Porch Black and Gold podcast. We drop it after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your Horchata podcasts.
The only horchata podcast in town.
So our last segment of the night is what we are watching. And the way we do this is we all know 100 million stream. I was trying to explain
100 million streamers.
Yeah. I was trying to explain streaming services to my 84-year-old mother and her
Why
partner
would you do
Rhoda
that to yourself?
and her friend Rhoda
Right.
at Denny's
Oh, boy.
yesterday.
That sounds like a horrible
Wait,
afternoon.
were you having
was-
breakfast or were you having dinner?
I'm
I was-
kidding.
I was-
I'm kidding, Chris's family.
Yeah, we know that. We know you're not. And I'm not
Please tell
saying
me
it's
I
not
was
true.
correct.
And
They're probably not watching though, because when they used to watch, they used to be on here.
Yeah.
So
we got
watch.
too popular for it.
no, they watch. Anyway,
Leave us a message there, Miss.
Anyway, yeah. So I was just trying to say I was trying to explain streaming services to my 84-year-old mother yesterday, and I basically told her, look, just think of it as the old days: CBS, NBC, ABC, networks.
Mhm.
Streaming services are networks. So there's 100 networks, and they all have shit we want to watch, and we watch a lot of it, and then we review it. The qualification for something to be reviewed is that you have to have finished either the season. So if it has 9 seasons, you don't have to finish all
can I-
9. But
can I say that was actually an absolutely horrible explanation of streaming.
all right, well, give it to me now.
That has nothing to do with what streaming is.
Okay.
What streaming is the ability to watch whatever's on that streaming channel anytime you want.
Mm-hmm.
Any time of the day, any time of the
You
night.
stream it. It's like you click on it, sort of like a download, and you just watch.
And if you don't like it,
Right,
you just
right.
shut it off.
Right. It's nothing like NBC and ABC. And the only thing that could possibly be like that would be saying like Netflix is like ABC, and it's not even close.
Okay. Well, you take all of that you just
Yeah.
said and explain that to an 84-year-old
I'm
I
just
think
and
saying.
see if you make any headway.
Well,
I think he just did.
I think I'm more fit to have that conversation.
in fact, your mom's probably listening, and she's going to
Yeah.
say thanks.
Yeah.
Right. Official Chris Chata on Instagram says Netflix is starting to put on content from other networks, which confuses me sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm not 84 years old.
Well, and they are starting to add advertisements, which is
Mhm.
really
I hate that. On
starting
Prime.
to piss me off.
Yeah,
Yep.
I hate that on Prime. But look,
I mean, if you're paying for the fee,
Yeah.
you shouldn't have to watch any ads.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
you got to pay more. I went from like, I think it was like $7.99 to $19.99 to have no ads on Hulu.
yeah,
There you go.
you
They
did that.
got me.
Mhm.
They got
They
me.
got you.
Do you
And
think it's
know what?
worth
You're-
it?
you're- You're happy. You're happy with it.
Is it
You
worth
paid
it?
the extra $10.
Uh,
Actually, it is completely worth it.
Really?
yes. Yes. Honestly, I watched it for years with the commercials, and I was like, it's not really that big of a deal because on the commercials, I'll catch up on like what's going on online or
Right.
something.
Porn.
But
Well, yeah, you know.
that was just inappropriate.
Yeah, whatever.
But anyway,
But true.
You don't
Inappropriate
want a
doesn't mean
commercial.
false.
you.
You don't want a
Right,
commercial
For you.
at the wrong
I didn't. I was talking.
yes.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
Go ahead. All right. So the qualifications now that we've gotten the explanation of streaming to an 84
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The qualification is you have to have completed the current season you're watching
Mhm.
or the entire documentary or movie.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So we're going to start with HJ again.
Oh, man.
No.
Just
Well,
gotta get
okay.
some
He's getting more horchata.
I'm
So
going for horchata.
and we're going to start with the Grand Schwabini
There you
tonight.
go.
Grand
All right.
Schwabini, you are watching.
I watched the movie Pig.
What? Pig?
You ever hear of it?
Nicolas
No.
Cage. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of it. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it.
It's on Hulu.
Wait, it's a movie?
Yep, it's on Hulu. Pig. I'm a pretty big Nick Cage fan.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy his work. I think that
Snakes on a plane.
I think he's just got like some really interesting roles, going back in time.
He does.
And he's also one of those guys too, like he kind of does everything. Like he could be a real dramatic actor and give like an award-winning performance, and then he could also like just be a lot of fun in an action movie. You know, he kind of like does it all.
He does.
So Pig was one, you know, you saw there were a couple, you know, reviewers there that gave it like 4 stars. This was one he was being really highly touted for his, you know, his acting chops in this.
It came out
film.
last year, right? Wasn't it last year?
Yeah, it was last year. And I liked it. I thought it was really good. Now, I will say this. I mean, look, it's not a happy film.
He didn't look like he
It doesn't.
was.
It doesn't look happy.
Man.
It's not a happy film. I mean, it's basically a film about, you know, a couple people whose lives have taken a pretty severe downward turn.
Is this like what was the movie that he was in where he won the Oscar? Leaving Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, Leaving Las.
Kind of like, you know, with the negativity of that type of movie.
Yeah, he played an incredible alcoholic.
Oh,
But
yeah,
it was really good. And essentially, just to give you an idea, he's basically playing a guy. I won't tell you what he used to do, but he was somebody who was really successful at something, and then, you know, something tragic happens in his life, and then he kind of isolates himself out in a cabin in the woods.
This is classic Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Right. And just take it from there. I thought it was an enjoyable hour and a half. But you know, you're probably like, you're going to come out of it saying like, yeah, I thought he played that guy really, really well.
Okay.
That's where you're gonna
Is
come
the ending happy or sad?
It's close. It's close. It could be considered happy.
Oh, okay.
It could be.
Okay.
It just depends.
It depends on what your definition of happy is.
Right.
You're rooting for.
Yeah.
Right,
For some people, happy is
right.
pulling the trigger. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
All right.
Happiness is a warning.
HJ is watching something called.
This is called The King of Collectibles, The Golden Touch. This was season 2. I don't know.
Season 2.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen season 1.
Did you? Did you see season 1?
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
watched season 1.
Nice.
So this is actually the Golden is a company in Philadelphia. And what they do is they run auctions on. They're more famous for like sports memorabilia, right? So the sports memorabilia field is absolutely huge. So they like people will pull these one of ones from these blaster packs and stuff like that. They'll go after the guy to get that card to put it on their auction. And they charge like 20% of whatever they get. But they have this clientele that's worldwide, right? So all this really is this just watching them go and getting and this guy I can't remember the owner's name, but he basically has all these relationships with all these people. Like, for example, in this one, he knows Barry Bonds really well. So Barry Bonds lives in San Francisco, and he went out to Barry Bonds and he was like, when are you going to put some of your stuff up on sales? Because I guess he kept everything. And he was like, okay, I'll do that. And meanwhile, this guy brought with him a baseball that had Babe Ruth's signature, Hank Aaron's signature, and he wanted to get Barry Bonds' signature all on.
Wow.
And it would be like the only ball that
Right.
Barry Bonds has ever signed and had that. So he was like going to give it to his son because this guy has a son that's like, 12 years old or something like that. And it's really interesting because they're in Philly. So, he employs a bunch of Guidos essentially, right? But these guys are,
No offense to Guidos or Philadelphia.
Or Italian Americans.
You're right.
I'm Italian American.
Yeah.
Right,
Well, we're just making
It's
sure.
your people, so you can say it.
Wait a minute.
We have this conversation before.
DeFlitch is Italian?
Yeah, it is.
Is DeFlitch Italian?
We'll have this conversation at another point. Let me
right.
get to my point.
I was thinking Polish.
I was
Yeah, me
about.
too.
I'm that too.
Yeah.
You're a big mix. You're a mutt.
Yeah, I'm a mutt. All right. So we've established I'm a mutt. But what we haven't established is the people who work for them are actually really great people. They're total salesmen. Like they go out there and they meet with these people that have these $1 million cards. And they're basically saying, you want to put it on our website because we can get you the highest price. But meanwhile, they're getting paid like 20% to do it. So it's kind of like if you own the car, do you think you could sell it to somebody at basically a higher price? And most of the time it isn't that way at all because they have such a great clientele that's amazing. So I suggest you do it. And by the way, in season 2, like in season 1, they did like a lot of sports stuff. And in season 2, they branch out to like Pokemon stuff.
Is this kind of a similar to like a Pawn Stars type of thing?
It's similar, but
different.
It's different because they're going out to the clientele.
Okay, instead
and
of
they're
them coming
going to
them.
get it, and they're
Yeah.
not just coming in and say, "Hey, I have this. How much is it worth?"
Are they having like difficulty getting the person to do the things? Is that part of it?
Some of it, but some of it also is like his family dynamics, because like he's got his daughter who he wants to bring into it, and she like knows the hip hop world.
Okay.
And like she actually got this piece from like Dr. Dre back when he was with Snoop.
Okay.
And like he was like, I don't want anything to do with him anymore. And he took this big piece of jewelry and he basically gave it to his jeweler, and his jeweler was like, I want to sell this. Because it was like
Really?
it was worth like $1 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it was like early on. Dr.
Right.
Dre, you
Right.
know? So they like branch out, and then they're like, they just show how they create these this network of people that like, oh, I know this guy who knows this guy who knows this guy. And like they did that with like Action Comics. They were trying to find the first Superman, and it was like a big thing at Comic-Con. They went in New York, and they show all the, I can't imagine how much editing they do, because most of it's got to be so boring.
Right.
And then like the auction takes like, whatever, 2 days or whatever, and all the action happens in like the last 30 minutes. So it's pretty interesting, their relationships among each other too, not just the products, but the products are really what draw everybody in.
Interesting.
So HJ is watching King of Collectibles on Netflix. Okay.
What do you got for us? Documentary?
No, this is not a documentary. This is a show that was
Aliens.
that was on Showtime and is now on Netflix. Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Yeah.
Your Honor with Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
You guys seen it?
Well,
No, I haven't.
I watched like the first like 4 or 5 episodes of the first season.
Didn't like it?
I thought it was pretty good, but not great. And so we stopped.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
You should keep going.
No, I mean, I hear from people that they've really liked it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. I mean, I guess
I don't think he's gonna watch it.
no,
I guess where
it's gonna be a
I guess the reason for stopping watching it was sort of thinking it was and look, I do get it. You got to kind of suspend, reality when you're watching a lot of these shows, but it just seemed like so impossibly impossible.
Yeah.
That it was just kind of like, this is just a little ridiculous.
Yeah. Well,
kind of like that.
Yeah. It's I think it's a great show. We finished season 1 2 nights ago, and we're into season 2 now.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Bryan Cranston plays a judge in New Orleans whose wife was murdered some time ago, within like the last few years. He has a son. The son is mourning the loss of his mother, and when he goes to mourn the loss of his mother on the anniversary of her death, he gets involved in a car accident where he kills a kid on a motorcycle by accident.
Spoiler alert.
Because he gets because
Somebody
Spoiler
gets
alert.
killed by a motorcycle.
there you go. Because he gets because he gets scared. It's in a crime-ridden section in New Orleans where she was murdered, and basically, he goes home and he confesses to Bryan Cranston, the judge, his father, Dad, I ran this kid over and he died. And
think about how you can say it so it doesn't give anything away to the viewers.
Well,
They do something that probably wasn't
please
the right
coach
thing
me
to
up.
do.
Please, would you coach me up and just
Let me help, Mark.
And
Okay.
so
And
it's Steve's turn to help.
And so they did something that they probably shouldn't have done. And then they had to make up for it somehow. And then it ended up in court anyways. And then there's something really crazy happens at the end, but you have to watch it to see it.
Yeah, it's pretty.
that's
close.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
good. Pretty good.
That's it's a good show. It's a good show.
You do like to tell everybody the entire story.
Is that what I do?
Yeah, you do.
That's all right. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching the Porch Black and Gold. All over the world on Facebook,
Lena Brooks.
LinkedIn, X, YouTube, Instagram this week. And we're going to drop that podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. You can also catch our YouTube channel at the Sports Porch Podcast.
And our handsome is complete.
And, yep, Lena,
Yeah.
we love you too. You have been blocked. Jubilansk.